My heart was a piñata, bursting with love, ready to shower my grandson Tommy with joy until it cracked open to reveal my son's betrayal. 2 weeks later, I'm still picking up the pieces of a truth he hid while I played the fool. The backyard was a riot of color that Saturday. Balloons bobbing like cheerful sentinels, a bouncy castle heaving with kids' laughter. I'd spent weeks planning Tommy's 5th birthday, my first big gesture as a grandpa. At 62, I wasn't just throwing a party, I was building a memory, a bridge to my son Ethan, who'd grown distant since his divorce. My hands trembled as I hung streamers, not from age but from hope this day would pull us close again. Ethan showed up late, his smile tight, like he was posing for a photo he didn't want taken. "Dad, you didn't have to go all out," he said, eyeing the catering truck unloading trays of sliders and cupcakes. His tone was off, like he was humoring me. I brushed it off. Tommy deserved this. Ethan's life was messy joint custody, a new girlfriend, a job that kept him chained to his phone, but I figured a day of joy would reset things. The party was magic. Tommy, with his gap-toothed grin, tore through gifts like a tornado. Kids swarmed the face painting station, their cheeks blooming with stars and tigers. Parents sipped lemonade, praising my effort. "You're the grandpa of the year, Frank," one mom said. I glowed, but my eyes kept darting to Ethan, who lingered at the edges, texting furiously. "Work," he mouthed when I caught his eye. I nodded, but something gnawed at me his hunched shoulders, the way he avoided Tommy's hugs. By dusk, the party was winding down, and I was exhausted but happy. Tommy climbed into my lap, sticky with frosting, and whispered, "Best day ever, Grandpa." My chest tightened with love. I looked for Ethan to share the moment, but he was gone. Not just stepped away, gone car gone, phone off, vanished. I told myself he had an emergency. I cleaned up alone, stacking chairs, my back aching, my heart heavier. The next morning, I called him. No answer. Text went unread. For 2 days. I worried he'd crashed his car or worse. By day 5, I was frantic, leaving voicemails that sounded like pleas. "Ethan, just let me know you're okay." Nothing. I kept Tommy's party photos on my fridge, a reminder of the day I thought we'd turned a corner. Instead, I was lost in a maze of silence. On day 10, a neighbor mentioned seeing Ethan at a bar downtown, laughing, carefree. My worry curdled into anger. I drove to his apartment, banging on the door until my knuckles hurt. When he finally opened it, he looked like a kid caught stealing. "Dad, I'm fine," he said, but his eyes wouldn't meet mine. "Fine," I snapped. "You ghost me for days after I throw a party for your kid. What's going on?" He sighed, rubbing his neck. "It's complicated. Can we talk later?" "No. Now." I pushed past him, my heart pounding. The apartment was a mess, takeout boxes, unwashed dishes. On the coffee table, a stack of papers caught my eye. Legal documents, custody papers. My stomach dropped. "Ethan, what is this?" I held up the top sheet, my voice shaking. He froze, then slumped onto the couch. "I didn't want you to know yet." "No way, what?" He looked away, his voice barely a whisper. "I'm giving up custody of Tommy." The words hit like a punch. I sank into a chair, the papers trembling in my hands. Ethan explained, his voice flat, like he was reciting a script. His ex-wife, Laura, had a new job offer in Seattle. She wanted to take Tommy with her. Ethan, drowning in debt and barely holding on to his job, had agreed. He'd signed the papers 2 weeks ago, right before Tommy's party. He hadn't told me because he knew I'd fight it. "You let me throw that party," I said, my voice breaking, "knowing you were letting him go." "It wasn't like that. Dad, I wanted Tommy to have one perfect day." "Perfect," I laughed, bitter and sharp. "You used me. You let me pour my heart into that day while you hid this." Ethan's face crumpled, but he didn't argue. He knew. He'd known the whole time, letting me play the proud grandpa while he planned to rip Tommy out of my life. I thought of the bouncy castle, The cake I'd spent hours choosing, the way Tommy's eyes lit up, all of it felt like a lie now, a stage for Ethan's cowardice. I left his apartment, the custody papers burning a hole in my pocket. I drove home, replaying every moment of the party. Had Ethan's smile been fake? Had he been counting down the hours until he could escape? I felt like a fool, a prop in my own son's deception. The next week was a blur of grief and rage. I called Laura, begging her to reconsider. She was kind but firm. "Frank, this is what's best for Tommy. Ethan can't handle it." Her words stung because they were true. Ethan had been unraveling for years, drinking too much, working too little, dodging responsibility. But I thought I could fix it, that a party, a day of love, could glue us back together. I confronted Ethan again, this time at a coffee shop, neutral ground. I wanted answers, not just for me, but for Tommy. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice low to keep from shouting. "I'm your father. I deserve to know." Ethan stirred his coffee, his hands shaking. I was ashamed. "Dad, I didn't want you to see me fail again." "Fail?" I leaned forward, my voice sharp. "Letting your son move across the country without a fight, that's failing. Hiding it from me, that's betrayal." He flinched, but I didn't stop. "I raised you to face your problems, not run from them. Tommy's not just your kid, he's my family too." Ethan's eyes filled with tears, but he didn't speak. For the first time, I saw the weight he carried, not just guilt, but fear. Fear of being a bad father. Fear of losing me too. I wanted to scream, to shake him, but I also wanted to hug him, to fix the broken boy I'd raised into a broken man. We sat in silence, the gap between us wider than ever. I thought of Tommy, oblivious in Seattle, probably missing his grandpa's bad jokes. I thought of the party, how I'd poured every ounce of love into it, only to learn it was a farewell I didn't consent to. Over the next few days, I wrestled with what to do. Forgive Ethan, cut him off, fight for Tommy. I called a lawyer, but the odds of a grandparent winning custody were slim. I wrote letters to Tommy, silly ones about dinosaurs and spaceships, hoping they'd keep me real to him. I even tried talking to Ethan again, but he was a ghost, dodging my calls like he dodged his problems. One night, I sat in my backyard, the same one where Tommy's party had been. The streamers were gone, the bouncy castle deflated, but I could still hear the laughter, feel the weight of Tommy in my lap. I realized then that love doesn't stop, even when it's betrayed. I'd keep loving Tommy, no matter how far away he was. And Ethan, I'd love him too, but I wouldn't trust him, not yet. I decided to write Ethan a letter, not to accuse, but to rebuild. I told him I was hurt, but I wasn't giving up on him. I asked him to fight for Tommy, to fight for himself. I don't know if he'll read it, but I mailed it anyway. A small act of hope in a sea of pain. Tommy's birthday party was supposed to be a celebration, a moment to bind us. Instead, it was a mirror, showing me the cracks in my family I'd ignored for too long. I don't know if Ethan will step up, or if Tommy will ever know how much I fought for him, but I know love is messy, and family is messier. I'll keep fighting, not just for them, but for the man I want to be, a grandpa who never gives up, even when his heart's been backstabbed. What would you do if you were me? Was Ethan's silence a betrayal or a cry for help? Should I keep fighting for Tommy or let him go for his own good? Share your thoughts. Where does justice lie in a family torn apart?